Hello everyone, welcome to EasyMed. In this video, we'll be discussing about the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is a butterfly-shaped gland with two conical lobes located in the anterior part and sides of the neck. Its vertebral extension is from C5 to T1 vertebrae, whereas it is extending from the middle of the thyroid cartilage to fourth or fifth tracheal ring. The two lobes are attached through isthmus, which extends between second to fourth tracheal ring. There may also be a third or pyramidal lobe arising from the isthmus. Now, let's come to the coverings of the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is covered by a thin outer false capsule and inner true capsule. A suspensory ligament of Peary is present that connects the gland with the cricoid region, because of which the gland moves up and down during deglutination. Inner to the thyroid gland lies dense capillary plexus, so we must be very careful during thyroidectomy and remove the thyroid gland with the true capsule to prevent any type of hemorrhage. The arterial supply of the gland is by superior, inferior and lowest thyroid artery, while the venous drainage occurs through superior, middle and inferior thyroid vein, and a fourth thyroid vein called the vein of Kochek is also found. Histologically, the thyroid gland has thyroid follicles lined by cuboidal epithelium with eosinophilic homogeneous colloid in the lumen. In the connective tissue between the thyroid follicles lie the parafollicular cells or clear or C cells. The thyroid follicle is the functional unit of the gland that produces the thyroid hormones, while the C cells produce calcitonin that mainly serves as a calcium decreasing hormone in our body. The thyroid hormone include T3, which is triiodothyronine, and T4, which is tetraiodothyronine or thyroxine, and they have vast areas of physiological action. So let's see how these hormones are synthesized. The thyroid gland is unique because it is the only endocrine gland that utilizes exogenous raw material, that is iodine, for its hormone synthesis, and it also stores its hormone in the center as a colloid and releases it when necessary. The very first step is the uptake of iodine. 20% of the circulating iodine is taken up by the thyroid follicular cells in the form of iodide through the NIS, that is sodium iodine symporter, located at the basal membrane of the cell. Then this iodide is transferred into the lumen through the transporter pendrine in exchange of chloride on the apical membrane. During this transport into the lumen, iodide gets oxidized into iodine by thyroperoxidase enzyme, which remains attached to the apical membrane. Thyroglobulin is another important component that is synthesized in the follicular cells and transported into the lumen by exocytosis. Thyroglobulin is a glycoprotein with many tyrosine residues as amino acids. Iodination of thyroglobulin in the lumen is the third step, which is catalyzed by thyroperoxidase and thus forms monoiodothyronine and diiodothyronine, in which 1 and 2 iodine is attached to a tyrosine residue respectively. Now the fourth step is the main step. It is coupling. The main step is coupling of the DIT with MIT or another DIT, that is a diiodothyronine with a monoiodothyronine or another diiodothyronine, to form T3 triiodothyronine and T4 tetraiodothyronine respectively, and this process is also catalyzed by thyroperoxidase enzyme. Hence, in this way, a single thyroglobulin can have many monoiodothyronine, diiodothyronine, tri and tetraiodothyronine as well, and many such iodinated thyroglobulins inside the lumen forms the colloid in the lumen. For the release of the thyroid hormones inside the circulation, the thyroglobulin, the iodinated thyroglobulin, needs to be pinocytosed inside the follicular cells. Then inside the follicular cells, they undergo proteolysis through the lysosomal proteases, and separates as mono, di, tri and tetraiodothyronine. The tri and tetraiodothyronine T3 and T4 is released into the circulation, whereas mono and diiodothyronine are deiodinated by the enzyme deiodinase and is again recycled. The released iodide is again recycled to be utilized as a new source of iodine for the thyroid hormone to be synthesized again. This is basically how the thyroid hormone is synthesized. Now let's talk about these two hormones, T4 and T3. Both T4 and T3 are thyroid hormones. 100% of T4 is produced by thyroid gland, while only 20% of T3 is produced by the gland, and the remaining 80% is produced by the peripheral conversion of T4 to T3 through deiodination. Comparatively, T4 is more plasma protein bounded, it has longer half-life, is less potent, 4 to 5 times less affinity for the nuclear thyroid receptor as compared to T3. T4 acts rather as a prohormone for the transport, while T3 is the active hormone showing the required physiological effect. The main protein binding to the T4 and T3 in circulation is thyroid binding globulin, which is formed by the liver, and the affinity to this plasma protein is more for T4 than T3. So, in circulation, T4 is more than T3. Therefore, the feedback effect shown to the pituitary gland and hypothalamus is also in influence of T4 rather than T3. On reaching the target tissue, T4 gets deiodinized by monodeiodinase. 5' monodeiodinase produces T3, while 5 monodeiodinase produces reverse T3, which is the inactive form of T3. T3, having more affinity to bind to the nuclear receptors than T4, regulate the gene expression for protein synthesis and perform their action. They act on almost all the nucleated cells of our body. Now, let's see how these hormones are regulated in our body. The synthesis is influenced by thyrotropin releasing hormone and thyroid stimulating hormone. Thyrotropin releasing hormone from hypothalamus causes thyroid stimulating hormone to be released from the adenohypophysis of pituitary gland, which acts on the follicular cells and signal for the thyroid hormone production. Thyroid stimulating hormone causes stimulation of all the processes of thyroid synthesis, especially endocytosis and release. T3 and T4, mainly T4, causes negative feedback inhibition of TSH and TRH release. Temperature and stress also influence the thyrotropin releasing hormone release. The stress and warmth decreases TRH release, whereas cold increases it. Remember, it's thyrotropin releasing hormone, not the thyroid stimulating hormone, which is influenced by temperature and stress. This sums up the introductory part of the thyroid gland and thyroid hormone. Part 2 discusses about physiological actions of thyroid hormones and some pathological conditions related to it. If this video helped you in any way possible, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe to our channel and encourage us for more such contents. Thank you again.